Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. If you're coming back and you've already subscribed, welcome back. Y'all are my people and I love you so much. And if you're new, I hope you'll consider subscribing by the end of this video. We're doing another car chat today because, to be honest, I just don't feel like filming in my apartment while I'm still trying to arrange everything after my roommate moved out. So we're doing it here. I wanted to talk about my relationship with food a little bit more. I know that I talked a lot about that during my Whole30 videos, and I think this is just kind of an extension on the breakthroughs that I experienced in week 2 of my Whole30 journey. But I experienced this breakthrough after this weekend. This past weekend was in the United States, Independence Day, and my family takes Independence Day super seriously. And it's not particularly for like the meaning of that holiday, but we, because my dad was an over-the-road truck driver growing up, we never actually celebrated Christmas on Christmas. So finally, my parents just like staked their claim in 4th of July so that all of the kids, no matter where they were at in life or like if they were married or whatever, that, you know, they could spend Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff with their in-laws. But 4th of July is my family's like Christmas holiday. We call it Family Appreciation Day. So for our family, it was like particularly big. There was a lot of Indonesian food. There was a lot of just food in general. There weren't like too many vegetables. And to be honest, I don't think I exercised any self-discipline whatsoever throughout that weekend. It was kind of a coincidence that I didn't have a hot dog or like a hamburger bun with my hamburger. But that was not actually like a choice. I was just like, okay, I'll just grab a hamburger patty or whatever. But I think that at the end of this weekend, I felt really awful. Like I felt inwardly like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat a vegetable. And so we celebrated Friday and Saturday. Friday we celebrated like our family Christmas and had a bunch of traditional Indonesian food, and it was great. And then Saturday we had a larger get together and played a bunch of games and stuff. And it was just really good quality family time, and just enjoying my loved ones. So what more could I ask for? But then by Sunday, that was like a day that I was alone in my apartment, and I was like, all right, I'm going to give myself a break from eating. I had like 20 cookies and like, I don't know what happened. I blacked out, frankly. But Sunday I was like, I'm just going to eat one meal. I'm not even going to like eat a normal day of food, and like I'm just going to give my body a break or whatever. So I ate lunch, but then around dinner time I was hungry again. And the breakthrough came when I decided that I was going to eat because my body was hungry, and I wasn't going to starve myself or punish myself for the food that I had eaten the couple days prior. And since I did Whole30, like the 30 days of the month of April. So since April, I haven't really eaten too much outside of those guidelines, even though I only did Whole30 very strictly for the 30 days. I pretty much have stayed on those guidelines. So this was the first time just really going all out, not a fruit or vegetable in sight. So yeah, I made that decision, and I think that there were a few things that had contributed to that. If you have been around on this channel, you know that I'm going to school for health and life coaching. And so I'm just finishing up like the first third of that course. And we've been doing these exercises that are like retraining our brains toward like what's good and what's bad, or what our core beliefs are about food. And in one of our labs where I was working with a partner, I discovered that I had a lot of underlying thoughts about food, and like really like core beliefs about food that was really mentally messing me up, especially because I think that our bodies are much more capable of bouncing back after a weekend of overeating or overindulging on foods that don't promote health. But for me, my mind doesn't bounce back that quickly. I think a lot of chronic or yo-yo dieting for me has been a mental thing, because my body wants to send me the signals that will help me promote my health. Like certain cravings, like, if you're craving chocolate, you might not actually, like, your mind might think that the best solution for that craving, what you're actually craving, what your body's actually craving is like magnesium or a couple other things that it could be. But your mind has told you that what you're craving is chocolate, but that's just the best solution that you've come up with so far to that particular craving. But your body in general is actually hardwired to tell you what you need for survival, but it's like a mental thing. So that's my little rabbit trail for that topic. But I had underlying beliefs, core beliefs about food. And I talked about this a little bit in the Whole30 week 2, where the food that I was eating was fast, cheap, convenient, easy, fake, empty calories. And that was translating internally to you are what you eat, which meant that I was fast, cheap, convenient, easy, fake, or empty. And I had that breakthrough that the whole foods, the health promoting foods that I was eating, were whole, healthy, and enjoyable. And that translated to me being whole and healthy and enjoyable. And that was a huge breakthrough for me. But I think in terms of like junk food, and I'm not saying that all food is healthy, or health promoting. I think there are a lot of foods that are health destroying. But I had so much morality applied to those foods that, it was bad food. It was sinful. It was cheating, and I think that had translated to what I really thought about food that was off of my safe list. If it wasn't safe, it was an enemy, it was danger. And that's literally how I thought about food, was that it's dangerous. And honestly, when you think about that in terms of food, and then when you eat that food and you think you become what you eat, it's like every single moment that you're trying to nourish yourself, it's a war zone. It's like you're battling yourself constantly. That's how I felt. So instead of punishing myself for this past weekend, I acknowledged the fact that the foods that I ate were rare, they were special, and they were worth it. Because I think that reframing of the food that I ate, the choices that I made that weekend, was able to like give me a little bit of freedom in my food choices, because sometimes when you eat foods that don't necessarily promote your health, you want to be able to enjoy them guilt-free. And I said that in the Whole30 video too, guilt-free, shame-free. I think that I have really in the past made so many mental critical mistakes with regards to my relationship with my body and relationship with food, that the only way that I'm really going to restore myself to health is to love myself back to health. And so in those core beliefs and in that exercise during my health coaching course, the words that I had to repeat to myself constantly were, I feel loved, food is nourishing, and I am free. Because it was such a fear-driven battle zone every time that I sat down to eat, and I felt trapped by the food decisions that I had made, to the point where even when making food decisions that might not necessarily be health promoting, I still need to nourish my body, and I still need to acknowledge that there are some foods that, while you eat them rarely, or you eat them on special occasions, or if they're really truly worth it, if they're worth the physical side effects because of, the rare occasion that food is available or whatever, then you should be able to eat that without guilt and without shame. And I honestly am just like, I'm sick of telling myself whenever I have a weekend where like I blow it, or where I just totally go off and use no self-discipline, I'm tired of telling myself like, well, tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow I'm gonna, cut all of this, and I'm gonna go strict on blah, blah, blah. And I'm so over that. I don't know. I'm so over it. I'm so over the yo-yo dieting and feeling crappy about what I am eating, because food really does translate to like how you feel about yourself and what you think about yourself. And I'm done thinking about myself as a good or bad person morally based on what I choose to eat, or beating myself up or punishing myself or feeling like I'm unworthy, based on calories and food. I don't know. I think that this is something that a lot of people with past eating disorder struggles, or chronic dieting struggles, it's something that we all battle with, because there's so much more implied with the food decisions that we make. And I'm not letting that have a hold on me anymore. I am loving the foods that I eat on a day-to-day basis. I love the whole foods, the vegetables and fruits and proteins and fats. And like, I love drinking black coffee and black tea now, without any additives or like sweeteners or creamers or whatever. I love that. And I'm so glad that I took that 30 days to really, hold steady and like hold fast to these particular boundaries for 30 days so that I could reset my body. So I'm not like anti-dieting culture or whatever, but I think that with those food rules, you have to have like an end time, and you have like a limited period of time where you're going to do that in order to reset yourself. But then every decision as far as food is concerned, I think it should become a lifestyle. And if it's not your lifestyle, then it's constantly going to be either an obsession or a battlefield or a struggle. And I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I didn't weigh myself within the past week because I didn't want to beat myself up if I had gained weight. I just weighed myself this morning, and it was the same number as it was a week ago, which is actually pretty normal for me at this time of the month. So my body bounced back, but what really needed to change was my mindset. And so I think that it's not just physical weight loss, it's like emotional and spiritual weight loss. That weight has lifted off of me, and now I'm like, come at me, world, with your cupcakes. And I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Yeah, so I hope that my little rant here helps to expound the conversation, not just to healthy and whole foods, but also on the rare and special and worth it occasions where, foods that might not necessarily be health promoting are also totally acceptable, expected, and totally within your right to indulge. Now, I don't make it a habit of indulgence. When I went to the grocery store, I saw some like dark chocolate and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get me some of that. But then I was like, no, I don't want to make a lifestyle of indulgence. I don't want to have it a habit of indulgence. just because, it was worth it at one point doesn't necessarily mean that it's worth it every single time I encounter that food. And I think that this whole journey has just become a constant conversation with my body. That sounds so woo-woo, but really it is. It's like listening to what my body is telling me. And my body is super sensitive. I realized this. I didn't realize this before I did Whole30 and before I totally reset my body. But after Whole30, I can tell instantly. If I have, the other day I had 2 s'mores and I was starting to have an asthma episode by the end of that second s'more. Or if I have, I had that fast food that one time and I had such a headache and I felt so sluggish. So I'm constantly learning and growing, but I'm not beating myself up over cheating or being bad. Because it's not helpful. It's not helpful to the conversation. Okay. So constantly learning and growing and making good decisions that loves my body, even if that decision requires a little bit of self-discipline. But on the rare, special, worth it occasions, I can eat food that is health destroying, but still feel rare and special and worth it. So anyway, that's all for this little lunch break rant. I'm going to go back to work. And thank you for sticking around. Love you all so much. Okay. Bye.